Peace to everyone. So I just saw the most recent Mvskoke media video regarding the Supreme Court's final decision on the Grayson and Kennedy case. Because Grayson, Kennedy, and Simmons are not letting this stuff go. They want to get everything pushed through right now so they can get their vote, right? Supreme Court saying, well, no, we got to take time to process this stuff. But then here's what happened also. Now, for one, I actually agree with Jared Moore's assessment that, one, that the Supreme Court is not going to they're not going to waste more court time and resources trying to force the other two branches of government to actually, do what the order, follow through with their order to implement their stuff in a more speedily fashion, right? Which is what the freedmen want. Okay. I don't think they're going to do that. I think Jared Moore's right. I think he's also right in that probably they're going to keep pushing this to the federal court and do this. I mean, we'll see, because here's the thing. The chief is dragging his feet, and it's obvious, and he's doing it. He's doing the right thing. The National Council already voted no confidence in the Supreme Court's decision. So let me get into that. They're doing this whole thing where I don't know how else to say it other than that they are moralizing. They're trying to moralize their decision to violate the 1979 Constitution that they're sworn to uphold. Okay? They try to justify it by saying, well, we have this unique ability to have two people come into our Supreme Court who are cultural experts. Okay, fine. You've got Miko George Thompson of Hickory Ground. That's great. That does not mean that they can overstep their constitutionally given powers, because they're given powers by the Constitution. They are appointed by the chief. The chief is voted in by us. They do not have the authority to overstep their whatever powers are given to them. So they can't override the very Constitution that gives them their power. That doesn't make any sense. Okay? So meanwhile, they're saying that, this and that, and then, I'll share a link in the description to this video, because it's worthwhile that you go check out that, because he Mr. Jared Moore, he goes over, word for word, all the stuff they're talking about, even though he mispronounces words, which, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't totally blame him, because I am not perfect. Now, I'll be honest, I can probably read the word and mostly get it right at this point, because I have a pretty good grasp of our alphabet. I'm not perfect in my pronunciations, okay? So anyway, they do all this stuff where they're like, oh, well, just to give you some spoilers, right, first, how they admit that, I agree with them that the retaliatory nature of the 1866 Creek Treaty was definitely not what our ancestors would have wanted. I agree. Particularly because as a loyal Creek descendant, I can see how we got royally screwed by that treaty compared to others. If we had been disloyal Creeks, we would have benefited more. Okay? I'm not letting that go. Right? So, but they're trying to say how, we're trying to balance our written laws versus our traditional stuff, and this is what we came up with, basically, and our ancestors made a hard decision back then, and if you look at what's been the result of the current Mvskoke Nation, we feel that they made, because of their decision then, we exist in our current state now. It's like, well, yeah, duh, of course we do. What happens in the past affects the present and the future. Duh. What's the big surprise there? Shocker. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Spoiler. The past affects the present and the future. So yeah, I mean, come on. All right. So not to be a jerk, right? In my sarcasm, but let's be real. Okay. They violated their oath. Bottom line. They violated their oath to uphold the Constitution. That is the bottom line. There's no two ways about it. And now they're trying to justify it, while simultaneously not dealing with Grayson and Kennedy and Simmons anymore on this particular issue. And also admitting that they're not going to go out and literally enforce this stuff and the way that's Grayson and Kennedy et al. Want done. So, yeah, they say that they would like for these changes to be implemented, meaning the Freedmen stuff, that they want that to be implemented faster, but nevertheless, they're not going to like start trying to pass more decisions to, like make it happen on this specific date. Okay. And they admit and they're right in this regard. If we were to go ahead and actually, as a people, vote to bring the Freedmen in, change our Constitution by the amendment process, i.e. the Constitution, okay, not just what the Supreme Court did, there's a lot of stuff that has to be changed, and we can't just haphazardly do it, okay? So, sorry, Grayson Kennedy et al., you can't get it the way you want right away. It's going to take some time, even if it happens at all, okay? Because we're going to see if it even happens at all. The Constitution was violated. You can't give lip service to the Constitution and then violate it, or say that it is subservient to the 1866 treaty, because that means that you are putting that treaty before our current laws. And the Department of Interior already accepted our Constitution. They didn't say it was in violation of the treaties, so it's law. It's law. And look, Grayson Kennedy et al., go ahead and bring this to the federal courts. Do your federal case. You will not pass the Rogers test for the most part. I mean, go ahead, do it. Do it. I mean, if they'll say, oh yeah, well, you could be an Indian under the BIA because you could prove some Bible-led ancestry. Okay, then cool. And by all means, I actually think we should change the Constitution to allow pre-Dawes Roll, pre-Campbell Creek Roll rolls as a criteria for Mvskoke Nation citizenship. Okay, that would bring a certain number of freedmen into the tribe that really shouldn't even be listed as freedmen. Okay, but as I always state, okay. But yeah, I mean, this moralizing that they're doing, the ancestors, they made this. It's like they're almost doing the national mythology that people like Melanie Fish do. Not to invoke her name and give her any credibility, or I'm not giving credibility, I'm criticizing her. But she's one of the people that's doing the whole mythology, this modern mythology about how the ancestors did this type of thing. And it's a sacred, holy covenant with our Creator when we signed that treaty. It's like, no, that treaty was a compromise. That was a compromise because I'll be honest, I agree with the Supreme Court. I agree that this is a decision that they had to make, not one they wanted to make. Basically, they were between rock and a hard place. That doesn't mean that it was in the best. Look, they're right that a lot of us are critical and we have our reasons as citizens, and that our ancestors may not have liked the treaty either. Okay, but because they made the decision to do so, they want to try to honor every aspect of it. It's like, dude, come on, man. Like, what about the "as shall be permitted" clause? Okay, like seriously. I mean, we talk about sovereignty, but it's like, no, we're not going to abide by our own Constitution. That's the rule of law. That's how you get your power and authority. So no, they are trying to moralize their illegal decision, their unconstitutional decision. So either our Constitution is the law or it's not. If 1866 is the supreme law of the land in Mvskoke Nation, then the Constitution is not. And therefore we should not be going by the Constitution at all, right? And are we even a tribe? Are we even a nation? Do we even have authority to elect our officials? Or does it rely solely upon the government, the federal government, to tell us that we have the authority to elect our own people? You know what I'm saying? Very important philosophical concepts. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I still have to do a video on what happened in September of 2024 with the Freedmen and the Porch Band in regards to Hickory Ground. I got to do a video on that. Also, I want to do another video on, well, not another video, but I need to do a video on what if we went back to tribal town voting instead of districts? Because the district thing doesn't make a lot of sense the way they're, like, we're all voting for every district. You know, what if we voted by tribal town? Anyway, that's another video. And I would like to kind of go over the different aspects of that. Like what would really happen? First off, if you did that, you'd be cutting out a lot of people. But then two, like, would it force people to come back in? I would force the tribal towns, you know, to bring more people in. I'll talk about that more later. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see that video, and that way it'll remind me to make the video, because I would like to make that. So 2 videos on the back burner, but not too far on the back burner, I hope. They need to come out ASAP. Anyway, but no for watching. Hadam Chichatlis.